predatory trumpet fish hide behind crevices or nestle within large shoals of fish. They're able to strike at their victims before they realize the danger they're in. Their elongated body allows them to face their potential prey head-on, without revealing their true size. They can swim upside down, change color, and explosively dart forward. All of these traits make them formidable hunters of their underwater realm. While many of Aliwal's predators use the landscape to conceal themselves, others use their fellow residents. Flutefish have highly streamlined bodies. Stingrays have a far larger surface area. So the flutefish has figured out that by hiding above the stingray, it can catch its prey off guard. Making the stingray the perfect living shield. The stingray's coloration mimics their shadowy home. They glide through the ocean like apparitions. Or settle beneath the sand as if they were never even there. The sand is not only where they hide, but also where they hunt. They're equipped with highly precise sensors around their mouths. These detect the natural electrical pulses that their crustacean prey generate as they move through the sand. This informs the ray where and when to strike. Not all predators here need to rely on their cunning to find a meal. Some are just built for the kill. Blacktip sharks swarm through Aliwal, attracted in their numbers by the abundance of smaller fish and crustaceans on offer. They catch their prey with a combination of brute power and agility. Blacktips can generate deadly explosive speed from a complete standstill, often shooting up from below. Although hawksbills aren't ferocious predators like sharks, they still have to actively hunt to find their food. The turtle forges on into the blue, continuing its journey north. The voyage will be surprisingly quick. If he travels at his top speed of 24 kilometers per hour, he'll arrive in Sodwana in less than a day. Sodwana is a decidedly different world to Aliwal. It's a kaleidoscope of light, color, and vitality. But don't let this deceive you. In such a populated habitat, competition for food is relentless. Down here, beauty isn't used as a form of attraction, but rather as a warning. Here, the most beautiful are also often the most dangerous. Perhaps the creatures that best encapsulate this are these two. Harlequin shrimp are certainly some of the most attractive residents of the reef. But they survive in a rather macabre way. The Harlequin shrimp's main source of food is starfish. With such picky tastes, when the shrimp get their claws on one, they make sure they don't let it go. They immediately begin work by paralyzing it. They do this by cutting through its tubular feet. The harlequins will slowly but surely eat away at the hapless invertebrate. But starfish legs regenerate thanks to specialized stem cells. So the starfish will be kept prisoner as it regrows its legs, feeding its hosts. Often the starfish will succumb to hunger and eventually die. But harlequin shrimp have been known to keep starfish alive by feeding them, thus prolonging their own supply of food. It's a very slow demise. Specialized feeding is what it takes to survive in an environment with such high competition for food. The shrimp have made the most of a niche unexploited by other residents. Another beautiful and rather flamboyant killer in Sodwana is the lionfish. Although their frilly spines and contrasting colors may be attractive, these may more accurately be termed destroyers rather than predators. Other fish only survive sharing the waters with them by learning to avoid them. When lionfish were accidentally introduced to Caribbean waters, the survival chances of all other fish living there reduced by as much as 80%. They've been known to eat other species of fish to extinction in the areas they inhabit. This one has spotted a potential victim. Splaying his large frill and pectoral fins, he herds it into the rock. It's a decorative and deadly form of attack. There's nowhere for the prey to escape, and the lionfish strikes, eating anything it can fit into its mouth. When the hawksbill arrives in Sodwana, a world of coral awaits. It's made it to the tropical paradise. It's now time to feast. But these turtles are fussy eaters. Not anything will do. Hawksbills feed on very particular, quite peculiar residents of the coral. Their diet is largely made up of highly toxic sponges. Many sponges have an exoskeleton made of silica, the main element in glass. Hawksbill turtles have developed a taste for this hardy and dangerous substance. They're the only reptiles that can feed on it. Now that the hawksbills arrived in Sodwana, the search for the sponge begins. It doesn't take long for it to come across one of Sodwana's main predators. But the turtle has little to fear. The ragged-toothed shark has other priorities. She's here to gestate. She'll spend 9 to 12 months in the warm, placid waters of Sodwana before heading further south to give birth. For now, she has the perfect conditions to nurture her unborn pup. Though striking now, this underwater world had simple beginnings. Sodwana's reefs began from sand. Today, dunes still line the upper stretches of South Africa's east coast. Thousands of years ago, coastal dunes here became submerged when a glacial melt caused sea levels to rise. But they remained shallow enough to receive light from the sun. And the temperature of the water stayed between 16 and 36 degrees Celsius. Over the next 10,000 years, coral began to take hold, thriving off the placid, warm waters and stable footing that the submerged dunes provided. The coral kingdom of Sodwana was born. Coral reefs first appear in the fossil record 250 million years ago. They have more species packed into them than any other biome on Earth, and were formed by the most inconspicuous of creatures. Polyps. These small, blob-like organisms weren't endowed with a stiff body, so some developed an unexpected habit to support themselves. They secreted calcium carbonate. All of this reef structure is in fact just a massive collection of polyp exoskeletons. But polyps have not done this alone. Each hard coral has microscopic algae living in its tissue. These are so small that 1 square centimeter of coral surface can house more than 1 million algae. Without the algae, none of this could exist. When corals build reefs, they absorb calcium from the water. When this combines with carbon dioxide, it forms calcium bicarbonate. But this is soluble in water, and so dissolves every time it's formed. This is where the algae come in. They use up the coral's carbon dioxide when they photosynthesize. This changes the calcium bicarbonate structure into calcium carbonate, stable lime skeleton that doesn't dissolve in water. This partnership is so important for the coral's survival that it can only grow where it's shallow enough for the sun's light to feed the algae. The relationship between these two types of organism forms one of the most diverse landscapes on Earth. A living space that transforms barren sand into an underwater garden. The culmination of this feat of biological engineering is Pachyceres speciosus. Uniform coral. This entire stretch of reef is a single organism. It reproduces by self-cloning, breaking apart and generating exact replicas of itself. On average, reefs grow at a rate of 4 meters every 1,000 years. Over time, forming a vast uniform habitat. Despite their beautiful appearances, corals are actually vicious carnivores. Coral polyps have cells called nematocysts, or stinging cells. The cells are circular sacs that house a tightly coiled thread that can be shot out, much like a harpoon. When the nematocyst detects that an animal is nearby, the cell wall floods water in. This increases the pressure inside, which explosively discharges the thread. These barbs tear into the flesh of any creature passing by, poisoning it. The prey is then pulled into the polyps' mouths and digested in their stomach.